Big 12, Texas, Baylor, Waco. Longhorns ranked 12th in the country and 22-0 against Baylor under head coach Rick Barnes. Second half, Texas nursing a 1-point lead. A.J. Abrams trap, loses it. Tweety Carter going in. No. Quincy Acey says, let me just show you how you finish. Right there. Baylor up 1. Later in the half, Baylor down 3. Curtis Geralds ties it up at 62. Excellent game in Waco. 4 minutes to go. Baylor down a bucket. Geralds pulls up, thinks he gets fouled. No. And Baylor slow to get back. Doge Balbay all the way off the window. Longhorns up by 4. Next Baylor possession. Same numbers. Geralds trying to create something. No. Justin Mason. Easy bucket there. The Longhorns build the lead to half a dozen. Bears get it down to 2, but Abrams so good. 19 points, and Barnes remains perfect against Baylor with a 78-72 win, and he's now 91-9 against teams from Texas.
Purdue beat Wisconsin in West Lafayette back on January 11th. Since then, the Boilers had won 3 straight. Bo Ryan's Badgers had lost 3 in a row. The rematch in Madison Tuesday got a little physical. That's Joe Kravinoff, 6'7", on Lewis Jackson, 5'9". A little dazed. Gets in the middle of the Badger huddle later in the game to show he's okay. About a minute to go, Robbie Hummel open for 3. Purdue up 2, but just 8 points for Hummel. They needed a little more. 15 seconds left. Jordan Taylor. Here's your ball game, Jordan Taylor. Noonan. Oh.
Danny.
One more look. Didn't go in that time either. Purdue wins 64-63. 5th straight loss for the Badgers.
26.1 points per game. You remember he was on the ESPN, scored 54 against Tennessee. First half, not quite the same stroke. Pull-up jumper, no. Meeks from 3, no. Meeks 0 for 6 from the floor in the first half, just 6 points. Coach, what's with number 23's play?
Our team's ahead by 2. Ole Miss is playing very good. This is not a one-man team.
All right, so we got no concerns, says Billy Gillespie. Here we go, 2-point lead. What'll happen? Well, Meeks 4 of 9 in the second half, finished with 21, but Zach Graham for 3. Ole Miss up 4. David Huertas knocks down the 3 as well. Huertas had 21, and Ole Miss 10 of 26 from behind the arc. Less than 4 to go. Ole Miss builds a 7-point lead. Malcolm White throwing it down. He had 20, and Ole Miss walks away with this thing 85-80. Much joy at the Tad Smith Coliseum.
Miami and North Carolina State in Raleigh Tuesday night, where the late Kay Yow was honored prior to tip-off. This one had a dramatic finish as well. Less than 30 seconds to play in the basketball game, and it's Brandon Costner after the Wolfpack blew a 19-point second-half lead, 21 for Costner. That tied it at 7, and they went to overtime. 10 seconds left. The freshman, Julius Mays. Wolfpack up 3. No timeouts for the Canes. Lance Hurdle needs a miracle. NC State snaps a 2-game skid. More Super Bowl now. Let's do some demos in Tampa.
Number 1 next week. All right, let's get started. Gerald Henderson's there, Jeff Teague is there, and guess who else is there?
Who?
Bill Cowher's in the stands, because, you know, he doesn't have any Super Bowl worries. Those are for Mike Tomlin. I'm going to watch the game. First half, Wake Forest with the ball and up 4. Three-pointer goes awry, but look at Al-Farouq Aminu. Hello, one more time. This will bunch up your crowd, huh? Aminu comes from out of nowhere, untouched, puts it back. Yeah, and now they're all crazy there. 9.6 seconds left in the first half. Jeff Teague inbounds, gets it right back for the three-pointer. They led by 5 at half. Guess what? That wasn't their best inbounds play of the night. Second half, Duke down half a dozen. Gerald Henderson. Henderson, rise, fire. Got it, thank you. He had 20, very stout, very Grant Hill-like. Duke down 4. Wake up 7 on the break. Ishmael Smith behind the back to Aminu. Very nice. He slams it home. Let's look at it again. Excellent pass. Better pass than it was a dunk. Aminu a team high 15. Wake up 9. Cruising along, but Kyle Singler need a little something out of you. So Singler dials up the 0-3. He had 22, and just like that, 4-point game. Less than 30 to go now. Duke down 2. Gerald Henderson wide open. Shire misses him, then misses the 3. Gets his own rebound, calls the timeout. So at least he fouled the shot. Good play. Duke, another chance. 15 seconds to go. Inbounding. This time Henderson is going to get a look. And up over James Johnson. He's got it, and we are tied. Wake Forest inbounding and quickly the other way. 9 seconds to go. Teague comes down. He'll miss. Aminu, no. Henderson eventually the rebound. Called for traveling, so Wake ball under the hoop. Dick Vitale finish it.
To win it in regulation. Johnson's the guy. Watch Johnson with that size. Throw the ball up on top to Johnson.
They get it inside and score. They get it to Johnson, not up high, but down low. Look at it again. The winning hoop, because that ball is nothing. Duke, you're done. Henderson, He's got his man Johnson. As we look at the replay, Nolan Smith on Ishmael Smith. They're supposed to switch. Henderson leaves Johnson Smith, doesn't pick him up, and there you go. That's a bunny. Wake defeats #1 Duke 70-68. That last bucket, that's a late ad.
Williams and his Tar Heels 9-0 against Florida State in their last 9 against him. Under 4 minutes to go, tie game. Tony Douglas, the double clutch. Money. Douglas with 32. Under $1:30 to go. Carolina down 3. Danny Green. Green does it all. The steal and the finish. Danny Green had 20 points. His free throw would tie the game. So we got a minute left. Tie game. Tyler Hansbrough switching on to Douglas. Douglas 6'2" against Hansbrough 6'9". Hansbrough's going to force the bad shot. But Florida State is going to grab the rebound. Great defense by Hansbrough, who made up for just an 8-point effort. But another chance for Florida State. Same possession, 10 seconds left. Hansbrough switching onto Douglas. And Douglas cannot get the shot off. Again, Hansbrough coming through to make up for the first time in 56 games he hasn't scored in double figures. All right, Carolina gets possession. 3.2 seconds to go. Ty Lawson takes the inbounds. And he just hits the running 3 to win the game. That was easy.
Who's guarding him?
Right. Lawson said later he was supposed to take a timeout, but then he said there wasn't enough time to get a pass off. And you know what? I just ran with it. Who could blame him? Where's the D? In the end, 21 points for Lawson, and Carolina wins. Showdown, DeJuan Blair, Lawrence Fields, and #3 Pitt taking on Villanova. Now, issues for Blair. The center is on the bench much of the second half. Foul trouble. Just 7 points, 8 boards in 23 minutes. Corey Fisher taking advantage. Villanova up 3 after the free throw. Pitt not the same team when Blair is in foul trouble. Villanova up 2. Scotty Reynolds. That's not easy. 4-point lead for the Wildcats. Blair can only watch, but he checks back in the game. He's got 4 fouls, and that would make a difference. Philly native Reggie Redding driving. Blair usually big help defending down low, but with 4 fouls, forget about it. Redding goes right by him. A game high 18. Villanova takes out #3 Pitt.
#1 in waiting, Connecticut on the road at DePaul. Chicago restores, really, weather Wednesday, that's a push. First half, A.J. Price to Hashim to beat, or simply Hashim. UConn up a dozen. Later in the first, DePaul has trimmed the lead to 11. Dar Tucker, how about this? The steal and the 360 dunk, very nice. Now, if you watch that on your computer, it's an ESPN 360 dunk.
Nice.
Very different, but it's a plug. Tucker, 15 points in the first half, and then Kemba Walker to Jerome Dyson. And Jerome brings it home. And watch Kemba here later in the second half. His team up 16. He draws 3 defenders. 1, 2, yeah, hard to miss, count 3. Leaves the beat open, and he's very tall, and he'll throw it down. He had 11 points, 9 rebounds. UConn wins handily, 71-49. They improved to 8-1 in the Big East. Perhaps #1 next week.
Speaking of the Big East, Syracuse,
Yes,
Providence. Syracuse leading scorer, Johnny Flynn. I was listening. Just 24 points on 23% shooting in 2 previous games before taking on the Friars. Flynn double pumping and knocking it down. 12 of 22 from the field. More Flynn. A career-high 35 points. Eric Diebendorf chipped in with 27. Providence would take over second half. Shot clock winding down. Sherrod Curry. He's going to pull up from there? I mean, from there? Yeah, from there. I answered my own question. Thanks for listening.
I was listening.
Beats the shot clock.
There you go.
Curry is season high 22. Flynn is driving, but he's going to be blocked by Jeff McDermott. Curry will lead the fast break the other way for that lay-in. And meanwhile, check this out. 4 Syracuse defenders are playing the full court press. Nobody picks Curry up. And the lob to Randall Hankey for the alley-oop slam. 12 points off the bench for Hankey. Friars off to their best Big East start since 2000.
Wednesday night, South Florida, Louisville. Cardinals, one of 2 unbeatens left in the Big East. And be ready for the full 40 because the Ville will lock you down in the second half. That's Earl Clark slamming. Louisville up 1 at half in this one. And then the second half was pretty much a 20-minute long run. The big block. Terrence Williams in transition, and look at that nice leave for Clark to finish again. Fancy pass between the legs. Excellent right there. 43-35 Cardinals. And as the route continued on, they're up 18 there at Freedom Hall. Williams in the corner, and that is a members bounce. They win the second half 47-22, won the game 80-54.
LA and Cal. Ben Howland hoping the Bruins will get back on track again. They had lost 2 of their last 3 games. Defense always helps. Darren Collison with the loose ball and the finish. And then Collison with another steal and then another finish. He said they were sick to their stomach of losing. And one way to slow down the nation's top three-point shooting team is to just keep taking the ball from them. Can't shoot if you don't have the rock. Collison to Josh Shipp. Drew Holiday feeding Josh Shipp for the alley-oop. UCLA up 43-30 when Shipp puts it down. UCLA never looked back. They go on to win it 81-66. Ball St. Mary's and Gonzaga, first ever matchup of two top 25 teams in the West Coast Conference, both 5-0 in league play. Patty Mills doing his thing. It was a barrage à trois for him. 6 of 8 from the three-point line for his 18 points, but Mills slipped and hurt his hand. They say it's a sprained right wrist. He left the game, and he didn't return. Second half, tied at 48, Jeremy Pargo to Micah Downs. Gonzaga goes on to win it 69-62. They snap St. Mary's 15-game win streak and take over first place.
Fireworks for Va-Tech as the Hokies plays host to 11th-ranked Clemson. Malcolm Delaney, speaking of fireworks, he provided plenty in the first half. He couldn't miss. Here's some examples. Delaney, 11 of 16 from the field. And then moments later, Delaney added again 6 of 9 from three-point range. Everything's going Delaney's way. At a career-high 37 points, the most points scored by a Virginia Tech player in an ACC game. Delaney ended the half in style. Isn't that right, Brent Musburger?
And it is into Delaney's hands. 1.3 midcourt. From midcourt, Delaney knocks down the three ball. What a way to end the half.
Yeah, just a 60-footer, and he didn't even need any power drink to do it. Hokies had a 15-point lead, let it slip away. Casey Rivers, 7 of 15 from three-point range. Clemson hit a season-high 14 threes. Moments later, DeMontez Stitt will hit a three, and senior A.D. Vasaya loses his cool with Coach Seth Greenberg. Here's what former Coach Bobby Knight had to say about this.
I had a few talk back, and I used to tell him, look, if you think I'm wrong, say something, but you better be right about me being wrong, because I'm going to say something to you when I think you're wrong. So I think that happens a little bit. I think
and Coach Greenberg and Vasaya talked after the game. Everything is just fine. Less than a minute to play. Clemson up 1. Rivers, that's a long 2. He had 29. 30 seconds to go. Vasaya would get a chance to tie it. No. Clemson comes from behind a 15-point second-half deficit the Tigers came back from, and they improved to 4-2 in the ACC.
That's his fourth now.
Brad Stevens Bulldogs looking to tie a Horizon League record with their 21st straight conference win, and Gordon Hayward was determined to get it. He led everybody with 18 points. Butler forced 21 turnovers in the game. Here's Willie Beasley, Matt Howard, 8-point Butler lead, and they'd win by that much. One more play here. Butler 19-1. They've won 21 straight Horizon League games. They can break the record set by Green Bay when they play at Green Bay Sunday. Reese Davis and Bob Knight now. Game day. Ranked Wake Forest just beat the ACC's and nation's #1 Duke. Now visiting the ACC's last place team, Georgia Tech. Jeff Teague for 3, Wake's up 4, but hold on. Final seconds, it's a 2-point game. Iman Shumpert, the freshman, big shot. We're tied at 74. Well, Wake's got the ball. Harvey Hale trying to inbound, and then not so much. Georgia Tech ball. Wake Forest had 2 turnovers in the final 35 seconds. A lot of ACC buzzer beaters this week. What a week it's been. Tuesday it started. Julius Mays, a 3 for NC State with 2.6 to go that beat Miami. Then on Wednesday, James Johnson, this was a great play. Either a great play or lousy defense, one or the other. Take your choice. 0.8 to go, and Wake knocks off #1 Duke. Also Wednesday, Ty Lawson as time expires for 3. Carolina by 3 over the Seminoles. Ensuing Georgia Tech possession on Saturday. Shumpert, the freshman who hit the shot to tie it, hits this to win it. Georgia Tech is up 2. Shumpert said, I knew I could shoot over wherever they put on me. I'm taller than their guards. Last chance for the Demon Deacs. It's not there, and they lose at Georgia Tech. Not a bad way to get your first ACC win of the year. Team to beat in the Huskies, trying to beat Providence in stores before that trip to Louisville on ESPN's Big Monday. Second half, there is Hasheem Thabeet. Never takes his eyes off Wemi Efujuku. Thabeet, no, he tied a UConn record with 10 blocks. Efujuku, I'm sorry, you're done. Again, Thabeet, ball, you man. Watching Marshawn Brooks, waits for him, and then comes in. Thabeet's first career triple-double, 15 points, 11 rebounds, and 10 blocks. Huskies' first home win over the PC Friars since 02. Now they go to Louisville on ESPN's Big Monday.
You mentioned Notre Dame. They face number 3 Pitt, and this guy stole your dance move, Steve.
Yeah, I taught him everything he knows.
Yeah. Notre Dame struggling. They've lost 4 straight, all the ranked teams in the Big East. Looking good in the first half. That's Luke Zeller. He's averaging 6 points per game. He had 6 threes in the first half. Luke Herringody, another double-double, 27 and 11. Irish up by 6 at the break. Then DeJuan Blair took over, and Jay Williams impressed.
Some people have already claimed Blake Griffin to be the country's toughest player. Well, my vote goes to DeJuan Blair. He embraces the true soul of a warrior. He gets you rebounds, he fights for loose balls, and it's because of DeJuan Blair that Pittsburgh continues to roll.
Blair, 23 points, a career-high 22 rebounds. Pitt goes on to win 93-80.
Cancer weekend continues. Mentioned Louisville earlier. Rick Pitino and the Cardinals hosting West Virginia at Freedom Hall before their big Monday visit from UConn on ESPN. Sneakers Awareness Weekend. Louisville defense leading into offense. Midway through the first, Deshaun Butler's pass deflected. Terrence Jennings has the steal. Terrence Williams finds Jennings, who had a career-high 13. Thanks for playing. A couple of plays later, Butler again has his pass taken away. This time it's Andre McGee. Jerry Smith's out there on the wing once they work it around, and Jerry Smith is over there open for 3. He had a season-high 20. Louisville 8-0 in Big East play. What should be number 1 UConn comes in Monday.
Now Marquette looking to remain undefeated in the Big East, facing a Georgetown team that already has 5 losses in conference play. Georgetown struggling early. Greg Monroe, ball stolen. Second half now. John Thompson III says he has a very young team. Monroe caught standing around on defense. Lazar Hayward getting the easy bucket. He had 23 points. Then DeJuan Summers' shot gets swatted by Dwight Burke. Everything going Marquette's way. The steal here, Wesley Matthews, he had 23 points, 19 coming in the second half. Baseline jumper there. Marquette running away. Then Jarrell McNeil, he had a stat line, 26 points, 11 assists, 6 rebounds, 5 steals. Buzz Williams' team now 8-0 in the Big East for the first time. Lance off the bike and watching a kid named Denny Clemente. The transfer from Miami, second cousin of Roberto Clemente, and he was just smoking. Said there was an ocean in that rim, and he was throwing up pebbles.
He's got the 21 going, too.
Yeah, and Clemente, the hot hand off the screen. Unstoppable. 44 points, tying a Big 12 record set by former teammate Michael Beasley. Clemente hit all 6 three-pointers. Kansas State up by 7. Texas down by 15 at one point in the second half. They come back. A.J. Abrams, 342 threes in his career. That's a Big 12 record. Then Justin Mason down 2, going all the way. We're tied at 74. We go to overtime. Longhorns down 2. Mason somehow gets it to fall. Tied at 78. Less than a minute left in OT. Tied at 79. Fred Brown, the 3. And Kansas State would go on with the shocker, 85-81.
Texas Tech hosting Nebraska in Lubbock, where Red Raiders coach Pat Knight twice ran onto the court to protest an official's call. Here is the call, second half. Chris Ballum throws down Alan Voskuhl, but it's Voskuhl who is called for the foul. And after seeing the replay, Pat Knight is out on the court. Knight said afterward, quoting here, "My job is to protect my players, and you can only sit there and take so much. And so I got to protect my boys. That's my job." He is out on that court, and he is livid. They finally calm Pat Knight down. Nope, he's going back out there for more. He got more to say. Ejected. Asked about the officiating after the game, Knight said, "I'm not going to get into the officiating." Red Raiders' 6th loss in 7 games. With the NC State men hosting North Carolina on Saturday. First half, Tyler Hansbrough. UNC was up 12 at halftime. Second half, they continue to lead off the Wayne Ellington miss. There's Hansbrough to clean up. Tar Heels shot 57% in the game. Ty Lawson, 2 of his 16 here. They're up 14. Carolina had a 46-16 edge in points in the paint. Finally, Hansbrough knocks down a big one. He had 31. Carolina now 19-2. They will host Maryland and Virginia before they visit Duke. On Beeline's Michigan Wolverines had a long day at 17th ranked Purdue Saturday. Second half, here's Manny Harris catches Chris Kramer with an elbow, and Kramer down and out. He said afterward, I was out. Then I woke up and there was a pool of blood around me, right on the nose. Harris, Michigan's leading scorer, gets ejected. Kramer would return, but with one of those Rip Hamilton masks. Team doctors told him his nose was broken. Yeah, they're fired up. All right, everybody sort of sorts it out, but Harris has to go. E'Twaun Moore comes up with the steal. Great pass to Kramer. He's back and he's scoring. He said, we don't retaliate, we just get W's. Purdue has 6 straight W's. They win here 67-49.